They should land on your website and immediately go to the first thing that you want them to see. We're controlling their brains. Let's look at my website. If you want to pick it apart, that's fine. I don't care. Let me tell you about a conversation I just had with one of my design clients. I just built her brand and she said, you know what? I need a website. I can't afford you. So I guess I'll just wait to have one. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I said, client. I used her real name. I said, you don't need to wait. There's no reason for you to wait whenever you can build a website now. Give yourself a couple hours. You can put together a simple landing page, 2-3 pages, and have a place for your customers to go, for your clients to go, that they can learn about you, learn about your business, the services you provide, or the products that you sell. She was a service-based business, so learn about her services, contact you, get information, read FAQs, all of that good stuff. Am I gonna tell you to hire a professional? Of course. I'm a professional designer. I can do professional design stuff, but if you can't afford it, I totally get it. There's ways to do things without having to pay somebody right now. Later on down the road, whenever you can afford it, go hire that creative to build your website. You can still have a good website. And when I say good, I mean like, good is subjective when it comes to design, specifically web design. People are gonna have their opinions. To me, someone who would like to be a professional full-time designer, good is objectively, when you look at a design, it's purposeful and it's functional. There's a decision behind it. It's not just, oh, this looks pretty, let's put it there. No. If you're in the boat of, I need a website, but I don't really have the money to pay a web designer, I'm gonna give you a couple little tidbits, little nuggets of advice on using a template service, but elevating that. Template services are not bad. We don't need to be scared of using a template service. Here's a secret. I use a template service. For my brand design business, I use a template service because I don't have the time, nor do I have the in-depth code knowledge to code my own website. I'll get to it one day, but for now, this works. My template service provider, most of them, you create an account, you get on, you tell the service, like, this is the industry I'm in, this is the purpose for my website, and it'll spit you out a bunch of different templates that either they have created or other people have created, and then you can just basically pick that one and then just change all the information on it. You can change the pictures and the fonts and the colors for your text and the menu options and the buttons, and you call it a day, right? You can do that, but you're gonna have a boring, templated, flat website. So let's look at how we can take that template service. We can use a template, or we can just use like a blank one, and we can drag and drop the elements to create our own dimensional, purposeful, and intentional website. One of the most important aspects to a good website, besides navigation, because navigation and clear navigation is very important, hierarchy is like one of the most important aspects to good web design. So what do I mean by that? Hierarchy. Hierarchy is prioritizing information. So when people land on your website, they get to your homepage, what is the first thing that they're gonna see? That first thing needs to keep them curious enough to then look at the second thing. Have you ever seen one of those pictures where it's like, you're gonna read this first, and then it says you're gonna read this second, and then you're actually reading that second, and then third, fourth, yada, yada. That is hierarchy of information. Usually the most bold, the most prominent thing on the landing page that they see is what they're gonna look at first. So I'm gonna give you several examples. We're gonna look at those examples because a lot of times people DIY their websites. I go to their homepage and there's just so much going on. I have no clue what I'm supposed to look at first. I'm still trying to determine why I'm even on this website. What does this person even do? Because I'm so confused right now. That should not be the case for your client. They should land on your website and immediately go to the first thing that you want them to see. We're controlling their brains. Let's look at my website. If you want to pick it apart, that's fine. I don't care. And the first thing you see is this black text. It says unique stories, bold colors, and memorable brands. That's the first thing that I want them to see. And that's probably the first thing you looked at, right? You've got this bright green background, which is very consistent with my brand. My brand is very quirky and loud and out there, with this dark grayish black text. If you're not sure why you clicked on my website, you probably have an idea now. You probably can determine that, hey, this person's probably a designer. She probably builds brands. I'm gonna guess she uses bold colors. You kind of know a little bit about what I do and the style of what I do. So that's the first thing that they're gonna see. And then naturally their eye is gonna move down and they're gonna see, I'd love to help you tell your story. That's the second thing I want them to see. It relates to the first thing they saw. And then there's the bold button saying like, yes, let's go. Hierarchy 101. I want them to look at the first thing first, and then I want them to look at the second thing second. People aren't gonna read like this long paragraph as soon as they click on your website. People are lazy, okay? You need to make things very simple to understand, easy to read. Readability is very important. And you wanna make them, like the information that you're giving them, you don't wanna make it difficult, because do you want them to click off your website? If it's difficult to read what you want them to read, if it's difficult to like understand, they're just gonna click off and find somebody else. I'm gonna bring up my this little wireframe here that I made in Illustrator. In web design, it's basically like the layout of web pages. I have a navigation bar at the top, that's your menu. So the green box, orange, that's orange. The orange box is your logo. This is generic and it's not for a specific client at all. About, services, blog, portfolio, contact. But when you click onto the home page, I'm gonna show this again with like an image as an example. Big title, that's the first thing that they're gonna read, and then they're gonna go to the smaller title with some more info. And then they're gonna see the button to draw attention, and then they're gonna go to the right and look at the image. People read naturally left to right. So if you have information laid out left to right, it's just gonna be natural for the human eye to do that. And then also we're providing hierarchy in the information they're looking at, so they're gonna look where we want them to, when we want them to, because we're controlling their minds. Let's just talk about navigation really quickly. Like I said earlier, navigation is it's your menu. Navigation is directions to different points of your website. So obviously we want everyone to start on the home page, unless you have a link to something very specific. Like if you sell a product and they see it on Pinterest, and when they click on that, it goes directly to that product that they're interested in purchasing. That's different. But if they're just like, for me, if they're looking for freelance brand designer, they're gonna Google that, they're gonna find me on Google, and then they're gonna click on my homepage. My navigation is very clear. I've got my logo, which your logo should always be your homepage. You don't need a home button when you have a logo in your navigation bar, because that is the homepage. I've got an about page. You can pretty much determine you're gonna read about me if you click it. Branding and web design, easy peasy, right? Because these are simple terms. We're making it easy for the client, the customer, to find the information that they wanna find and do it quickly. My work, you can probably guess you're gonna see my work if you click on that. Photography, digital file and SVGs. Blog, they wanna read about crap. There's the crap. Contact is right there. They're not gonna go to my portfolio page because they clicked on contact. They're probably gonna go to a contact form. You're not designing your website, whatever industry that you're in. Don't design your website to impress other people in your industry. You're designing this website for your clients, for your customers. You wanna make this as easy for them as you can. Make it very simple. Simplicity is key. So let's talk about a big pet peeve of mine with templates. They are a great tool. Templates are a great tool. But that doesn't mean we just like do as I was talking about earlier. We don't just, tell the system, I'm a graphic designer, I need something for my portfolio. Oh, I like the way this template looks. I'm just gonna click this and I'm just gonna change all the information in the template and then bada bing, bada boom. No, we're not doing that. With a lot of template services, a lot of your website elements are going to be based on boxes or strips. And so people will, you scroll through a website and it's just box after box after box. There's no like background movement. There's no animated elements. There's no movement with any design elements or like any illusions with like our imagery or anything. It's just flat images, flat boxes, flat text everywhere. Blech. We don't want that. You might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't know JavaScript, I can't animate. That's fine. I'm gonna show you how to create depth and movement in your templated website. Below this title section, big title, small title, button, image section, we have just an orange section with an image. A really great way to include movement is to add a box or a strip or whatever your service calls it. Set the background to that as a image, and those images are gonna have that parallax effect. It's going to make it look like the background is changing, which makes me look really savvy with code, and I'm not that savvy with code. I just know how to make things not only look good, but function well. And this functions by creating curiosity and interest in the design elements of my website. And not only is it just creating depth to create depth, it's showing people my work at the same time. We can also layer our images or have like illusions, kind of like illusions with images. So let's go ahead and look at the Target website. You have depth with the product going outside of the bounds of the image. That creates depth. It creates a little bit of intrigue, and then it catches people's eye because there's something protruding outside of that barrier. It's a great way to bring dimension to static imagery. And then like animated effects, okay? Besides like parallax, that's just like as people scroll, what do I want this one element to do? And how do I want it to move as people scroll? Simple animated effects come with a lot of template services. On my homepage right here, the button, the yes, let's go button, I just selected for that to move slightly up and down. That creates interest in that button. It's the only thing moving amongst all the other things that are pretty static. So it's gonna create interest. It's not just a static button that's just gonna scroll with the rest of all the other things that it's with. Keeping everything consistent throughout your website is so important. Your typography, your color palettes, your logos, your brand assets in general, they all need to be consistent throughout or people will get confused. They don't want to see a completely well-branded homepage and then they go to your about page and it's completely different because it's jarring. They're going to be like, who is this again? So keep all of that consistent. Include personality. You don't need to be super corporate and uptight if that's not your brand. If your brand is corporate and uptight, okay, be that way. But having personality is going to attract customers and clients to you more than just if you're just trying to be like everybody else. You know, word of mouth referrals are some of the best referrals you can get for your business. If someone knows you, they're going to refer you. Include the personality in your website and just be yourself. I hope this helps. My name is Heather again. And if you'd like to submit your website for me to politely roast and give you some helpful tips and feedback, I am so willing to do that. Leave your website in the comments below and I'll see you in the next video.